Multiplying and dividing functions. So now my problem states, let f of x equals x squared minus 9 and g of x equals x plus 3. F of x equals x squared minus 9, g of x equals x plus 3. What are f times g, f divided by g, and their domains? F of x equals x squared minus 9, g of x equals x plus 3. F times g, f divided by g, and their domains. So let's do f times g first. What's f?
X squared minus 9.
What's g?
X plus 3.
What does it look like I'm going to do this problem?
Distribute.
Distribute. That's all I have to do. Distribute, combine like terms, and I'm done. So x squared times x gives me, x squared times 3 gives me, negative 9 times x gives me, negative 9 times 3 gives me. Is there anything that I can combine? That is my answer.
Yeah.
My domain would be? It does, don't it?
Wait till we get to the beginning.
No, wait till we get to like a worksheet. It's gonna be the hardest problem.
So the division part of it says I'm going to take f and I'm going to divide it by g.
Oh.
So x squared minus 9 equals x plus 3. What do you think I'm going to do with what's on top?
Do the conjugate. You have to bring the negative rational number.
Nope.
What? Get rid of the square. Do the reciprocal.
X minus 3. Just go for it. Bring it
Write
over.
it down. Write it down.
Square
You
root.
subtract.
Slide it to the right.
Get rid of it. Reduce.
How about factoring?
Everything you want in the box.
I think y'all covered everything but factoring. So let's take it and factor it. X squared minus 3. I'm going to have two factors. What are my factors going to be? What?
3. Oh, I thought we were doing the constant.
3 and 3?
1 and 9.
Wait, what did you ask?
9.
X squared.
I've got x squared minus 9. I need to factor it. What are my factors going to be?
X
X squared minus
minus 3
3.
and X plus 3.
Right. X minus 3 and x plus 3.
Well, you said X squared minus 3 the first time.
X minus 3 and x plus 3. That is the
And you do
factors
that
for
for
x
what
squared
reason?
minus 3. We've been talked about this 100 times. If I have a perfect square, a minus sign and a perfect square, you should know them just like that.
Okay.
What's x squared minus 4? X plus 2, x minus 2. What's x squared minus 16?
The 4 part.
Y'all should know those right off the bat.
And they're on the wall.
Okay, so what do you notice about this problem now on top and bottom?
They're the same.
X plus 3 and x plus 3, correct? That cancels out.
Oh, okay.
So what am I left with?
X minus 3.
That right there is the answer to my problem.
Oh. Easy peasy.
So the only other thing I have to determine is what is the domain of my division problem. Now remember, we discussed this at the very beginning. You can't have a 0 on the bottom. That's going to be my restriction right there. So I'm going to take what's in the denominator, which is what? X plus 3. I'm going to set it equal to 0 and I'm going to solve it. So x equals negative 3, right? So x cannot be negative 3. Because if I put a negative 3 right here in for x, I'm going to get 0, correct? And I can't have 0 in the denominator of a fraction because it makes it undefined.
Oh.
So that is my exception right there. X cannot be 3. So my domain is going to be all real numbers except what? Negative 3. Now, what if I wanted you to take this and put it into interval notation?
I have no idea.
Now, I have a number line right here. I have a number line, right? My domain is all real numbers except -3. So it can be any number on this number line, but it can't be -3. So this is negative infinity and this is positive infinity. So it'd be negative infinity to -3. Then I'm going to use this little sign right here. It's a U. It's a union. It hooks two intervals together. -3 to infinity. That's how I would write it in interval notation. That tells me that it can be any number on the number line, but it cannot be -3. Okay, let's do one more of these. So let f of x equals 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. G of x equals 3x plus 1. They want me to multiply them, divide them, and tell the domains. So multiplication, division, and then define the domains. So let's do the multiplication first. What am I going to put in the first parentheses? Minus 4. And what's the second one? Okay, I'm going to switch them around. You don't have to. My brain just thinks a little bit better this way when there's 2 terms in front and 3 in the back. Okay? Multiplying, it doesn't matter what order you put them in. It's all going to get the same answer. So all we have to do is distribute, right? So let's distribute. 3x times 3x squared gives me 9x cubed. 3x times negative 11x gives me negative 33x squared. 3x times negative 4 gives me negative 12x. 1 times 3x gives me 3x squared, I'm sorry. 1 times negative 11x gives me, and then 1 times negative 4 gives me. Is there anything that I can combine? So negative 33 plus 3.
Wait, where'd you?
Negative 30x squared, is that right? Negative 12 minus 11 gives me, and then I have minus 4. What would my domain be? All real numbers. So 9x cubed minus 30x squared minus 23x minus 4, and my domain is all real numbers. So the next one asks me to divide. So on top I'm going to have 3x squared minus 11x minus 4. And on bottom I'm going to have 3x plus 1. What do you think I'm going to do to the top? I'm going to factor it out. However you want to factor it, it does not matter. I'm going to come over here and do tic-tac-toe. So 3 and negative 4 gives me negative 12. And up here I have negative 11. So 2 numbers that multiply to get negative 12 and add to get negative 11. Negative 12 and 1. So where's my 3 going to go? On the top. 3 times what is negative 12? 1 times what is 1? So my 2 factors are? So 3x plus 1 times x minus 4, and I'm going to divide that by 3x plus 1. What can you tell me now? So my 3x plus 1's cancel out, and what am I left with? So x minus 4 is my everybody wants to say that my domain is gonna be x can't be 4. X minus 4 is my answer. My domain comes in when I look
All the numbers except.
at the bottom of my fraction.
Dang it.
So I'm going to set this equal to 0, and I'm going to solve it, and I'm going to get negative 1/3. So what would my domain be?
All the numbers except negative 1/3. Why can't you do that?
So where'd you get X?
All real numbers except negative 1/3. How would I write it in interval notation?
Negative 1/3.
Negative 1/3. That would be how I would write it in interval notation.